Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. And as you can see, what's going on in the news right now is talks of the third woe. And as I was saying in prior videos, these prophecies are speaking louder than ever. And today, which is July 13th, 2023, the hopeful year that all these prophecies come to pass, we're seeing that these prophecies are manifesting and they're speaking louder than ever. And tomorrow they're going to speak more. So right now, the topic that is right now in the news is about with North Korea testing their advanced missiles. And then also I have this article from the WhiteHouse.gov, and so this is all today, same date, July 13th, 2023, and the WhiteHouse.gov put out this statement saying that they're ordering the selected reserves and certain members of the individual ready reserve of the armed forces to active duty. And we all know that this is all just building up for the third woe that the scriptures are speaking about, that was spoken about in Matthew 24, where right now we're hearing the wars and rumors of wars. And pretty soon, this country, America, which is known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, is going to do a whole bunch of stuff that is going to make it that all of his allies are going to turn against him. And with World War III, that's the new fighting situation that America is going to enter into. Like there's not going to be like a whole bunch of tanks and missiles and small units running around here. You might have that in certain places, but the main place where they're going to show that military might is in the Valley of Yehoshaphat, because something's going to happen in the Middle East that's going to draw all the attention of these nations. And then people are going to see this devil, this country, for what it truly is, which is the great Satan. And the beast is going to hate the whore, which is the whore of Babylon, which is this country, America, and the beast being NATO and the EU. Because right now there's already political schisms between Esau's allies. And just as the first woe, the second woe, it was basically Esau versus Esau, and everybody was going at it against each other, but really it was an Edomite war, because this devil lives by the sword. He doesn't know anything else on how to do in this world except for slay and to kill and destroy. So this final woe that's spoken about in the scriptures is going to be a few battles here and there, and we're seeing that already over there in the Ukraine and various other places. But it's going to get to the point where all these people are going to draw to the Valley of Yehoshaphat for that final judgment, because it won't be World War III without these thermonuclear missiles. And that's what the scriptures is speaking about when the heavens are going to melt with fervent heat, because this is the final way that this captivity that we're currently in is going to go away. And you can see with other articles that the elites are getting ready for this type of a war. Like, they're not really stocking up on certain things because they're investing in nuclear bunkers, because the ones who are more high up in the chain of command and Esau's rulership, they know and understand that this war is going to be the war to end all wars. And I want to read this real quick. This is in Obadiah, and this is in verse 6. It says, "How are the things of Esau searched out?" Alright, so it says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?" And right now, the Lord is lifting up the skirts of Babylon, and everyone's seeing this devil for who he really is. Mainly the elect of the nation of Israel, because we are being baptized by this word. This right here, this information is part of the gospel. It's part of the prophecies that are spoken about in the Old Testament and the New Testament, specifically Matthew 24, and I'll get that in a little bit, and in Revelation, various chapters. And this is the final way how this place is going to go down. But right now, the Lord is, he's lifting up his prophets, and he's speaking through his prophets the destruction of this place. And that's why we're prophesying against Mount Seir. We're out there proclaiming that these things are going to happen, and that anybody who is a part of that elect, who has ears to hear, to pretty much arise and depart out of Babylon, because this place is not your rest. Because we're going to have to be in that situation that Lot was in, where we have to pretty much get up and leave. And if you remember that story, because it says you got to remember what happened to Lot's wife, is while that place was destroyed with fire and brimstone, Lot's wife turned away, and she pretty much had the covering of the Lord taken away from her, because she pretty much didn't fear the Lord's message, and his message was to leave Sodom and Gomorrah. She didn't consider that, and she looked back, because when the Lord sends you a message, and these epistles, these are the messages right now, seeking the Lord right now while he may be found, and we're supposed to adhere to what he says, no matter what that is. And it's actually very easy, because you could look outside the window and there's no way, shape, or form that we're going to be able to survive in this place, because Esau has it out to destroy everything. If it wasn't for the times moving quick for the elect's sake, there would no flesh be saved. So really, everything is going all according to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's plan. The elect are gathering up, and they're getting ready to depart, just as Lot was commanded to. And that's why it emphasizes to remember what happened to Lot's wife. You got to keep these commandments that the Lord is telling us right now in the valley of shadow of death, because right now Esau is being sifted out, and he's being made evident, in the world stage, that he's ripe for the picking, and all of his friends, his allies, they're going to see that he's weak, and they're going to strike at him. And the only way that they're going to strike at him in this third woe is with these thermonuclear missiles, and this all lines up with the scriptures. So this is in the book of Obadiah, verse 6. It says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And it's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that we're moved to speak against this place, and to spread the gospel to the elect of the nation of Israel, because that's the only escape." And this is verse 7. It says, "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him." So at one point, well, because we're seeing it right now, but tomorrow this is going to be more evident. And then the day after that, this prophecy is going to speak louder as the days go along. It's going to speak all the way until these missiles hit. Because right now it's speaking, but it's going to come a point where the action is going to take place. So in this article here, this is speaking about how North Korea, they were saying that they tested this advanced solid-fueled ballistic missile. And here's why adversaries are alarmed. And any type of testing and movements that this specific country, North Korea, does, everybody is focused on it, because they know that once Esau has a competitor, and he does, even like the people who are right now currently so-called in confederacy with him, those are his competitors, because there's going to come a point where the Egyptian is going to go against the Egyptian. But right now we're seeing that there's all these other nations here and there, like Iran is one of them, where they're able to go toe-to-toe with the beast system. And you can see that they're getting closer and closer. I'm not going to play the videos, they might have an ad in it, but they're getting closer and closer to fulfilling prophecy. So in this article, I'm just going to read it real quick. It says, North Korea fired what is said was a solid-fueled intercontinental ballistic missile on Wednesday, just days after Pyongyang threatened to shoot down U.S. military reconnaissance planes flying over nearby waters. And that's one thing too, is Esau is always going to be meddled in other people's affairs. And that's what he's doing over there in that country, is he wants to go there and usurp his authority, just as the scriptures speak about. But this is right here, this is the end of his rulership, and these heathen nations, they're starting to buck up. And we're seeing that with these abilities, because with these type of missiles, you can have the most advanced defense for them, but ultimately, once these things are shot with actual thermal nuclear cargo, there's really no way to turn that back. You can't turn back the bow of someone who shoots it. And mainly, the Spirit is moving these heathens to do this because it's all of the Lord to fulfill His prophecy, to destroy this place with thermonuclear missiles. And so, continuing from this article, says the launch follows several other recent tests of North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missiles, which have raised alarm among adversaries as the isolated authoritarian nation ramps up its efforts to develop weapons capable of potentially striking major U.S. cities. I believe they're fully capable to do it already. They're just waiting for the timing for it to be right, and ultimately they're bound by the Lord, because none of these things are going to happen until prophecy sets its place. We still have to go out there and prophesy, and the elect still has to be built up. But until then, like these articles, they're going to put a little bit of witchcraft in them, say like, oh, they probably got a little bit closer or something. But I personally believe that this prophecy is just ready for the timing to be fulfilled. And so the White House statement says that the launch is a risks destabilizing the security situation in the region. And the only reason they're saying that is because they don't have security in that region, and they want to have security in that region because they're over there spying on that place, and they want everybody to pay their taxes to those certain banks. And I'm not going to get into too much detail, but pretty much they all want everybody on this earth to pay tribute unto Caesar. So in this article, which was on the same day, the WhiteHouse.gov was speaking about how they want the reserves to pretty much get ready. And me personally, I have done some time in the military, and with how it goes is you got the active army, where you go in there and you do your 4 years or however years you sign up for. Then you have your National Guard and your reserves. And people really just join the National Guard and reserves so they can get like a job, training, and free college. But the thing is, though, is eventually they pull your card and you have to go do a term out of the country. So like you're pretty much you're not really in the army. You're like a weekend warrior, as they called you in the military. But right now with this order, is they're gonna have a lot of those soldiers going to their houses and telling them to pretty much get ready for that call. Pretty much to start doing your push-ups so that when that call arrives, you best be ready to be in the military as if you were active, like all the other soldiers. And I'm not going to read the rest of this article because I just explained how that operation plays out. But it says right here, I'll just read from here. It says, I hereby authorize the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security, with respect to the Coast Guard when it is not operating as a service in the Navy under their respective jurisdictions, to order to active duty any units and any individual members not assigned to a unit organized to serve as a unit of the selected reserves, or any member in the individual ready reserve mobilization category, and are designated as essential under regulations prescribed by the Secretary concerned, not to exceed 3,000 total members at any one time, to whom not more than 450 may be membered of an individual ready reserves. And they throw these numbers out that they could only do this to so many people, but you best believe that they could just circumvent these things they say. These presidents nowadays they're just a laughingstock, because what they say doesn't hold any weight, doesn't hold water. So they're saying this now about this number, but I personally believe that they're going to bring out the draft, which that's when they go knocking on your doors and forcibly make you join this military. And then with this part of this article, I even read that the Coast Guard, because these guys they don't really do much. They kind of just patrol the areas in Florida. But now at this point, because they're going to have to be on those warships for the Navy, so they're pretty much calling all units to get on this program, so that when shit hits the fan, they're going to be sent out into country, just as the scriptures speak. All right, so I'm going to read this in Joel 3, and I'm going to start at verse 9. It reads, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And this specifically, we could see that very visibly with the nation of North Korea, also with Iran, and all these various other countries who are stepping away from NATO and the EU. Like I believe Turkey is stepping out of that place because they're not very peaceful people. They only just want to usurp authority and take your resources. But all these heathen nations, they're going to start bucking up against the order that these devils are trying to put on everybody. And so like with Esau doing that, he's going to have to flex some way by putting out these decrees and recruiting more soldiers to send out to that valley. But right now, these other nations, they're pretty much gathering up the resources and being able to come up against this beast. So this is in verse 10. It says, "Beat your plowshare into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat," which this translates to the valley of Yahweh's judgment. "For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." And that's one of the things you have to understand, that according to prophecy, this is going to take place. There ain't going to be no schism like in that movie Red October, where the government of America gets toppled and then Jake can slip in and take over like back how it was when Rome fell. Nah, it's not going to play out that way. This place is going to fall with fire and brimstone, because this is the war to end all wars. There ain't going to be anything else after this except for the establishment of the nation of Israel, the kingdom and the supremacy that we're going to have once we get delivered and come back down after we get crowned by Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, we're all part of that first fruit of deliverance, because that is going to be a beautiful time. We're going to set the world in righteousness, like what the elder brother from Dallas was saying, that when we're down here, with that power, that the bodies and that authority with the rod of iron, we're going to subjugate the remnant of the heathen after this war, and we're going to make sure that they're going to take out every brick, every cigarette butt, every plastic, anything that this devil created that is not conducive to life, and we're going to get them to work. Like one of the first jobs that they're going to have is they're going to have to bury all the carcasses that's going to happen after this war. After all this chaos, tumult that we're seeing. Like you think it's wild right now in France? Just wait till we're at the very end. All right, so I'm gonna read this here in Isaiah 34, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it." So everybody is going to take part in this third world woe. And in verse 2 it says, "For the indignation of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is upon all nations." And so that's the because it's the controversy of Zion. Mainly it's Esau Edom that has touched the apple of the Most High eye. But if you read in Psalms 83, all these heathens had a hand in putting us down. And so like this is the Lord's judgment that he's bringing it's the Lord's indignation for the controversy of Zion. He's going to be a defender to us. And so that's why he's going to gather all these people all through prophecy. There ain't going to be no ifs, ands, or buts. Everybody's going to take place in this valley of Yahweh-Shaphat. And they're going to be all lined up for the indignation of the Lord, because it's upon all nations. And then continue on from here, it says, "And his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of the carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood." And the word "their mountains," it also represents governments and kingdoms, rulerships, because it's going to be the Moabite nation, the Elamite nation, even the Ammonite nation for sure. All these nations, they're going to get toppled, and they're going to be assimilated and put in order in chains, because we're going to bind their kings with chains with fetters of iron, so that they could serve us and do what they were actually made to do. But all these carcasses, before that's happening, it's going to be a big stink. So there's going to be a mass death situation coming on the world. And then in verse 4 it says, "And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll." And so, because this is basically speaking about how this final world war is going to take place, it's going to be it's going to be used with these weapons right here. And just real quick, I'm going to read this in Isaiah 13 and 19. It says, "And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah." So like we're getting these glimpses right here. Those who have eyes to see, you got to have that vision when you read these precepts and prophecies, that this is speaking about a fire not blown with this technology right here. Because right here it specifies that the heavens are going to be rolled like a scroll, and a tank can't do that. A tank can't shoot a bullet or a sabot round or a heat round even and make it be like the heavens rolled as a scroll. This is going to be through the missiles being shot up, and then they're going to fall and land and utterly destroy this place. And with that explosion, they're going to make that mushroom cloud that we all know and have seen. Just get another picture of that. Here's a good picture right here. So this is that big explosion that we're all going to witness. Every eye is going to see this, and then the ones who are in it, they're for sure going to see it, even though their eyes are going to melt. But this is what the scriptures are speaking about, because you can see it right now. Isaiah saw this. Ezra saw this. All the prophets of before saw little glimpses of what is how this is all going to play out. Even when Yahushua spoke to the disciples at the time, they wanted to know how this was all going to play out. And Yahushua depicted certain things that were going to take place before the Son of Man was going to return. There's going to be those wars and rumors of wars. But here in the book of Isaiah 34, and then also in 13 and 19, it's speaking about how this place is going to go down just as Sodom and Gomorrah went down. And specifically, the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. It's another picture. All right, so continue on from here. It says, "And all their host shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off of the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment." So there ain't no Edomite gonna be saved. The ones that are gonna be saved, you could read that in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, because the ones who know, they've already got the bunkers set up to survive these certain missiles. But we know and understand that they're just going to be reserved for the day of slavery. All right, so I'm going to read this real quick. It says in Matthew 24, and I'm going to start at verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So these things, we're not troubled. We're not losing sleep over this. We're excited to see this because these are the prophecies speaking. That's the mindset you want to have in this ministry, because we know that after all this is said and done, the elect are going to be delivered from this hell, from the impending doom that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to send to destroy this place and then wipe the tears off of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect. And that's why we are motivated to push these prophecies, go out there on the highways and hedges and speak these things into manifestation, because we know our kingdom is one to come. This place right here, it's just fit for the day of destruction. And with that, I'd like to give all honor praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Ruach HaKodesh, Shalom Akim.